With hindsight, we should never have negotiated with bandits, says Governor Masari, while Sheikh Gumi says we shouldn't use military force on bandits. Plus, INEC is insisting on electronic transmission of election results, but the National Assembly has other ideas. Well, this is Plus Politics, and I am Mary Anacom. The Katsina State Governor Aminu Masari has said that the benefit of hindsight is government should have never negotiated with bandits, let alone grant them amnesty. Meanwhile, Islamic cleric Sheikh Ahmad Gumi has declared the recent military force going on in Zamfara State against the bandits and herdsmen as counterproductive. Well, let's get to talking about this. Joining me to discuss this is political commentator Adeni Kunu, security expert Dickson Osajie, and social reformer Andy Akpotiwe. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Great. So I'm obviously going to start with you, Dickson, because you're a security person, and we have been going at this issue of insecurity for months. I think we spoke just, I think last week about another recent happening, in terms of banditry. But let's look at Governor Masari's perspective. He seems to be taking some steps back and, of course, looking at the situation. And he obviously is saying that if they had handled this better, we probably wouldn't have been where we are today. But yes, with the benefit of hindsight, we now know that what had previously transpired shouldn't have. But where do we go from here?
Well, thank you very much, Mary Ann, for having me this evening. Of the truth, I believe the recent words of Governor of Katsina State, Masari, sometime last year, we sent some warnings to him that he must be very careful in negotiating with these criminal elements. Because bargaining with the devil is a sign of weakness. When you want to bargain with the devil, you must be prepared for two entrapments, for psychological entrapment and emotional trap. You can't trust negotiating with terrorists to yield more results. These guys are their devil. They deserve to be eliminated. And I agree with the governor now, because you can't negotiate with terrorists. Even if you want to negotiate or bargain with the devil, you must bargain on the side of strength and not on the side of weakness. But here, our government, we are very quick in bargaining with these guys on the side of weakness. On the side of weakness, in the essence that these guys that are holding us hostage, we don't have anything to hold back to, cause them to surrender, cause them or push them to the wall. So when we want to bargain with these guys, we must bargain from the side of strength. Just like what is happening in Zamfara State now, the high-powered military bombardment is really yielding results in the Northwest. I am in touch with the operations there, and I'm so proud of the military. This is the military I know. This is the military I understand, and this is the military I serve. So for me, I think the decision the governor made some few years back was erroneous, but I'm happy he has taken a departure from such decision. They must come back to the drawing board and draw a line on how to tackle the state of insecurity. But Mary Ann, I must tell you for free that anything that poses threat to human life must not be substituted, must not be replaced. It must be eliminated. And that is what the military and the government needs to do. They must eliminate the threats.
Before we even get to the elimination part of it, because I mean, this is not a normal warfare. This is more like a guerrilla warfare. But before we get to that part, you talked about, the governor retracing his steps and, the fact that you're in agreement. But these bandits have become used to being either negotiated with or getting monies. And that's why they've even gotten into high-level kidnapping, which is now the order of the day, especially for a state like Kaduna State, where they keep doing it because they know that people will keep paying. How easy will it be to take a step back now when they already know that, look, they're used to the monies. They know that no matter how long it takes, money is going to come to them. How easy will it be to, draw that line in the sand and say, we're no longer doing this? And if you do take that position, you have to have other plans in place, don't you, to be able to deal with these guys, because they will always look for other ways to try to entrap the government or even the people in the state to still continue to find a place or grounds for negotiations.
Mary, and that's an intelligent question, but let me assure you that to the end of time, criminality or crime can never be eliminated. We are going to live with crime to the end of time, understand? But one thing about crime is that we must mitigate such crime to as low as reasonable, acceptable in a given society. For me, if the government or the governor of Katsina State is restricting itself, it's a good one. But coming by your question, how are we going to, kick off these guys, having exposed them to some monetary inducements? Well, it's very, very easy and sometimes tactical. Tactical in the sense that the government needs to declare war against these guys. Yes, we're going to pay the price, supreme price, but some people will pay the supreme price, but we must declare, because if we don't eliminate this now, Nigeria is going to be the capital word of kidnapping. As it is now, I think Nigeria is the capital word of kidnapping, because we see most of these criminal elements illegally transporting our people from school, our students from school. Over 100, 200, 300 people will be transported at the same time in a given society. I wonder if we're still in a country called Nigeria, but let us not write Nigeria off. Nigeria will still bounce back. But for us to bounce back, we must call a spade. We must also ensure that we fit in or, embolden our criminal justice system, that will be able to take care of most of these criminal elements. And also, finally, we must also look at, decimating these guys. The government must decimate them by day, decimate them by night, deny them sleep by day, deny them sleep by night. When we give them this high-powered decimation, I think we'll be able to mitigate the high level of the kidnapping.
Talking about, going back to the elimination that you were making reference to, can you really eliminate the type of terrorism that we are facing today in Nigeria? We know it has become a hydra-headed monster of sorts. It's metamorphosed into different things, unknown gunmen, bandits, and even Boko Haram in itself is on the other side, of the Northeast. So can you outrightly say you are totally eliminating it? Decimation, yes, to an extent. Knowing what is happening within Nigeria and the kind of terrorism that we're experiencing, and of course the gun running right down through the Sahel region, it's easy to really just eliminate it.
For sure, yeah. Security is achievable, Mary Ann. Security is achievable. Nigeria, if you look at the ethnography of Nigeria, we're sitting on a 923,000 square kilometers. Zamfara State is, I think, the fourth most largest state in Nigeria, and Katsina State is also having a high-powered landmarks. So when we talk about elimination, we're not talking about the military or the government going out to eliminate them immediately. We are talking about the threat here. Anything that poses threats to human life must be eliminated. Eliminate such threat. Don't allow that threat to flourish. Don't allow that threat to grow day by day. Not allowing the threat to grow by day is to draw the line and say, hey, guys, we are not going to pay ransom for criminality. We are not going to pay ransom for kidnapping of Nigerians. Well, I school up in the north. I was born and bred in the north. I school up in Sokoto State. And over 35 years ago, I can still remember the days of the Metasine insurrection. So Nigeria has not been faced with insurrection just of this recent years. It's just a long-time failure of our leaders. That is why we have arrived at this stage. So for us to eliminate this threat, we must draw a line between the Nigerian state and this criminal element that, hey, this country is a no-no. When you go after the Nigerians, when you kidnap Nigerians, death penalty is the consequence. And in exception of that, for us to achieve this as well, we need to also look at border security and also securing the state borders and the national borders. Because a borderless nation is a non-nation. A borderless state is a no-state. If we're carrying out activities or anti-kidnapping activities against these guys and our border and our state borders and national borders are porous, we are fighting an empty war. So we must come out with all components. The political component must be applied, the military component, tactical, strategic component, and administrative component. The administrative component here is that, hey, there must be policies and procedures drawn by the state government to ensure that this criminal element does not excel and flourish in their criminal activities. Enough is enough, man. They can't just hold the Nigerian government hostage. We have the army, we have the navy, we have the air force, and some group of criminal elements are holding a great nation like Nigeria hostage. He said, no, they must be eliminated with from strategic and the tactical point of view.
Now that we see Governor Masari owning up to the fact that he was wrong in believing that bandits were truly repentant, do we see a Governor El-Rufai who also falls in that category of, negotiating with bandits, paying monies to these bandits and causing there to be even a conduit of sorts between these bandits and the government? Do we see him shifting grounds? Because we also know that Kaduna has become a serious kidnapping field for these bandits.
I see the both of them shifting ground because the two governors in the previous time have been lackadaisical in administration of their administering security policy in their states. I think they were scared or maybe afraid of these terrorists. I don't know the reason why, but they have seen the imminent threat and danger this is posing to the state and survival of the people of their various states. And all the state governors, I am happy with their actions now because they've seen that, hey, these guys are coming home in this essence that these guys are really coming back to even hit at these governors' families, senators' family. Last 2 weeks, a senator's son was killed in Kaduna State. Yes, Kaduna State harbors one of the highest powers of the military. We have most of the military institutions in Kaduna State. I was trained in Kaduna State. We have the Nigerian Defense Academy. We have the Depot of Nigerian Army. We have Air Force institution and other military formation. And most of these peripheral threats happening in Kaduna State should have given the military within that environment, to have carried out the risk management processes. But they were so relaxed, and this criminal element went to the Nigerian Defense Academy, the pride of our military, killed some officers in the military academy and carted away one of the senior officers. That was an aberration of the Nigerian Defense Academy. That was a shame to the military leader. But it's not too late. I have advised them to carry out a risk management, a risk assessment of the Defense Academy and ascertain what the problem is and the vulnerability analysis to proper mitigation factors so that such kind of shameful act does not transpire again. Katsina State, they must also, the governor should fall back to his chief security officer to advise him on combating terrorism. It's not the duties of governors to just come on board and speak. Let them fall back to professionals to advise them on processes in which they will be able to carry out mitigation factors and war against these bandits or terrorists, because they are terrorists anyway, because you rightly say that we call them bandits or non-gunmen. We must stop calling some group of people non-gunmen. They are non-gunmen. When you call them a non-gunmen, that tells you the inefficiency and ineffectiveness of our security agents. You need to unmask these guys for us to know that truly they are non-gunmen. So for max them, then go after these guys. I'm telling you, I know the capacity of the military, the military are capable, but I want them to stop this friendly march.
I'm shocked that you're saying that the military is capable. In terms of what? Because I have spoken with retired military officials, air vice marshals and all of that. And most of the time are talking about the fact that the military is overstretched, the fact that they are fighting on different fronts. And there needs to be an increase in manpower. There needs to be an increase in, the wages of these people, welfare, and every other thing that they need, including the guns and the ammunition that they need to fight this war. So when you say the army is capable, I'm not in any way trying to say that the army is not capable. But what is the strength of the army as opposed to the kind of warfare that they're faced with?
Okay, Mary Ann, this question is really, really diplomatic and sensitive. Sensitive in the sense that, oh yes, when the Boko Haram incident sprang up in 2009, the Nigerian government quickly projected the military. The military you don't just project the military at any given situation. That is mismanagement of the military. In the past 12 years, the Nigerian military has been mismanaged by our government, and that is regrettable. And that's why they are overstretched in the sense that not that they don't have the capacity or the arms and ammunition to decimate these criminal elements, but I have seen an absence in political will. I have seen an absence in motivation, like rightly said about some generals you have interviewed. I've also seen an absence, in enlisting the soldier and retaining the family. Enlisting the soldier and retaining the family simply means that every child of a soldier must be taken care of. Every wife of a soldier must be taken care of. Mary Ann, when you go to most of the military barracks across the country, it's so sad to let you know that we have a lot of widows at our military base. What is the cause? The cause was because the military really did not go out fully geared up to neutralize these criminal elements. But for me, it's not too late. Oh yes, we must also look at arms and ammunition. Okay, but may I shock you that arms and ammunition perhaps might not eliminate terrorism, except you look at the liveware, because in a given war, we have the liveware, we have the software, and we have the hardware. Oh yes, you kind of project more funds for the liveware and the hardware. What about the liveware? The liveware and the soldiers. So once our government start looking into the welfare of soldiers, I am telling you, they will defeat these criminal elements.
I also spoke to a retired, officer in the military who spoke about particularly what's happening in Kaduna State, and he pointed that the major problem in Kaduna State is the lack of synergy between government and security agencies. I remember very, very vividly when he said that the government seems to be speaking a different language as opposed to, security agents in the country. And this is why it's very difficult to put an end to the situation there. So I ask again, do you think that Governor El-Rufai might want to retrace his steps, and not just about the issue of negotiations with these bandits? Do you see a Governor El-Rufai working with security operatives and not just talking tough, but going back to the drawing board to see what they can do to deal with the situation? Because, like I said, Kaduna State keeps churning out numbers of people. Either they're being kidnapped from schools or they're being kidnapped from hospitals. I mean, the list is endless. If a government seems not to be in sync with security operatives, does that not make their job even tougher?
For sure, it makes their job tougher. But for Governor El-Rufai, Mary Ann, I have closely monitored that governor for some few years back, and I observed some few years ago. I had really, predicted what's happening now in Kaduna State, because the governor sometimes was like, slowing down in acting against this criminal element, and sometimes make some statements that are really worrisome. Well, for me, I will not take him by those statements. It's bygone, but I want to believe that see what is happening. It's a total failure to his leadership. It's a total failure to the state of Kaduna State, to Kaduna State. And we must also understand that the military are subjected or submitted to civil authority. For the fact that the military are submitted to military authority, civil authority, does not mean that they don't have their own, what they call, political will to engage this enemy that are posing threat against the Nigerian state. Because if the military want to sit down back at home and await the governor to give them orders or this president to give them orders before they carry out any actions against criminal activities within Kaduna State, we will keep on losing more lives. We need to fall back to the administration procedures, in the sense that we need to draw a line. What should the military do in the case of threats? What should the military do in case of any given situation? Do they have to wait for the governor to give them an instruction? Do they have to wait for the president to give them an instruction? Oh yes, before the military are called on board to carry out any internal security threats, that threat must have overpowered the presence of the Nigerian police, because the Nigerian police are solely responsible in mitigating crime across the state. But I'm sorry to say, I love the Nigerian police, but I've seen most of the Nigerian police in action being transactional policing system. They are really not doing effective policing duties, protecting the highlights, escorting of airlights, and leaving the Nigerian people at risk. So the Nigerian police need to be revamped. I must tell you the truth, we need to fall back to policing duty.
But we hear this all the time, Osajie. We hear this all the time. Every time we have a new Inspector General of Police, we hear about police reform. So the police is going to be rebranded. Oh, they're taking off all the checkpoints. And then in less than a month, it's back to status quo. As we speak, there's so many complaints in Lagos alone about police harassment all over again. The same issues that led to the NSAS movement is repeating itself. So you telling me that the police needs to be revamped, it's like pouring water on the back of a chicken, isn't it?
Oh, sure. Mary Ann, you see, policing duties are achievable. The two problems the Nigerian police have been faced with, just like you rightly said, each time we have a new IG, some IG will come on board, fire for fire, bullet for bullet, head for head, eye for eye, tooth for tooth. Such name calling does not mitigate crime. We are talking about actions and police procedures are put in place. One of the problems the Nigerian police are suffering from, Mary Ann, is command negligence. Just like you rightly said, command negligence. In the sense that we are not holding our police leaders accountable for incidents that are transpiring. You understand? So the Nigerian police must be held accountable. The spate of harassment by some police. Oh yes, let's not just say the Nigerian police in totality. You will have some excellent policing officers, but most of the problem we are facing is from the lower cadre. I think that's where discipline comes to play. The Nigerian police are suffering from lack of fire discipline. At any given time, a policeman will want to point his gun at you. At any given time, he want to harass you with his guns. You don't try that in the military. In the military, you point your gun at any civilian, you'll be dismissed from service. I know that for sure. But we need to revisit discipline in the Nigerian police and also revisit command negligence. Command negligence in the sense that every DPO from the grassroots must be held accountable for the misconduct of their men. And IGP should not just come and utter statement after 1 month, like you rightly said, and fall back. So everybody must come on board to ensure the Nigerian police.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Osajie. I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much. Dickson Osajie is a security expert. Apologies, our other guests were having internet connection issues and we were not able to have them join this conversation. Thank you so much, Dickson, for being part of this conversation.
Mary Ann, thank you, and thank you for all you do for the Nigerian states.
All right. Well, thank you all for staying with us. We'll take a short break, and when we return, we'll talk about the National Assembly stands on electronic transmission of results and where INEC also stands on this issue. Stay with us.